Hey, good morning. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Happy Hanukkah. Happy. Oh gosh, my brain is freezing. I have no idea how many different occasions I should acknowledge, but all I'm going to say is hello today. Now, this is not one of my most peaceful days sometimes. Hear all that noise? My neighbor, who's very nice, I'm glad we get along, is a new neighbor. They have some yappy dogs. I mean, and sometimes I am so centered, it doesn't even bother me, especially when I know it's not my dog barking. Then I feel better, right? But then there's other days like today when it does kind of bother me. It's just like it's this nagging noise, and I don't like noise. I've never liked a lot of noise. I don't have to have, the only reason I play music is to help me do housework, help me get awake, help me feel alive sometimes. I have to have some music to just wake up and start having a good excuse to find my rhythm and move my body so it's not sore all the time. And it can help with depression, that underlying low-grade failure that I can have. But otherwise, I like silence. Yes, some of those people who can relate to me will also recognize maybe that, for instance, going to the mall with friends can be enjoyable, but it's the last thing you want to do by yourself, or if there's more than just one friend, because it's too many lights, too much movement, too many strangers, too much noise. It's just, even if the place is quiet, there's this underlying buzz. It's just, it disturbs the force. Traffic can be that way. All that swishing of the big trucks going by is just, and the way people don't drive very well. I'm just saying. I'm not the best driver either, but I drive like an old granny. Why am I here on Christmas Day, you ask? Because there are a lot of us, a lot of you out there who are feeling alone. And holidays might be the hardest. Holidays might be the hardest days of the year, because they're supposed to be labeled for friends and family gatherings. And my dog wants in. He flaps his ears outside the door. You're wet? No, but you're muddy, I'm sure. All right, jump. Go ahead. Come on, jump. Or you can go back out. You want to go back out, or you want to jump? I don't know, but you're not sitting on my lap. I know that. No. I just cleaned the floor yesterday, and now there's muddy, wet feet all over it, which I accept because I love my dog. I love all the dogs that come in and out of here. But starting my to-do list. Oh, anyway, why I'm here. I'm here because I just wanted to let you know, if you're alone and you happen to be thumbing through YouTube and you happen to be on my notification list, hopefully you'll see this and know that you're not alone. I do have appointments today, so I'm going to put on some makeup, and I figured I'd have you keep me company. I work holidays, yes I do, and one of the reasons I do is because I don't have anything better to do. I'm one of those people who is not blessed with a close family. They're not close with me anyway. I was my father's first wife, and from that relationship, my mother's passed, I think. My sister's passed, and my grandmother, great-grandmother, and great-great-grandmother all have passed, which I knew all of them when I was little. But I'm going to put a little on my neck. You know what makeup this is? This is a conglomeration of about 5 different ends of the bottle because I like the pump so much. I just kept adding, and it's the best makeup I have owned. Seriously, it's moisturizing just enough. It blends really well. And it's pretty close to a perfect color at this point. I saw the ones that were a little too dark, a little too light. So that is so awesome. I have a little cyst under my eye, and I think it's an ingrown hair. Not sure, because I see a couple of black spots on it. Huh, that'll be fun to tweeze out one of these days. We'll see what happens. I leaked it once. I know, too much information. Jump, jump, come on. Say hi to everybody. So I'm here because some of us are really alone. And humans don't do alone very well. And so that's why it's important to reach out to other people. I'm not going to be on here all day. I might check in later, depending on how my day goes. This is a light day for me at work today. And so I've got a list of things started that I'm going to try to knock out. It's kind of rainy and gray today, so I'll be in the house probably most of the day. And I don't mind that. Back to people and not being alone. People really don't do well alone. They might say they do, but they don't. They really don't. People aren't supposed to be alone. They're really not. When they talk about lone wolves, no. That's only for people who have mental disturbances that do well as a lone wolf, because that's just not human behavior to be able to spend a long time alone. Look at all the studies, like even with babies. They're just not supposed to be alone. We're supposed to be able to bond and support each other. It's what we're supposed to do. Bond and support each other. So sometimes when we're alone on the holidays, our imagination can get carried away with us and make us think that we're not worthy, that we weren't enough, that we were born as a mistake, and that obviously we weren't really supposed to be here. And then when we've had other failures or losses in our life, we feel so, not only so incredibly alone, but also punished. That's not how the universe usually works for us normal little people or big criminals. I mean, the universe doesn't usually punish the wicked. It doesn't usually punish anybody. And what I mean by usually, it's not like it does it all. I don't know why you even use the word usually. I apologize. The world does not punish. It doesn't have the ability to do that. What it does do is that there's a cause and effect that is like a domino effect. Okay, so if you pour cough syrup in a plant, the results are the plant isn't probably going to do all that well, right? That's cause and effect. Cut down a tree, chances of it growing tall really fast are not going to be great. Therefore, you're not going to have the extra tree to shade or provide apples or paper to write your novel. I don't know. You see what I mean? Okay. So the universe isn't out to get you, but there's, in my opinion, cause and effect. And if you're a Christian and you believe that sin, you're punished for sin, I need you to understand that if you're reading the Bible, don't miss out on the part that talks about redemption, right? All you have to do is have a changed heart and ask forgiveness, la-di-da, etc., and you're born again. Submersion, born again. So the universe is not out to get us. It just feels that way because we get disappointed over and over and over again. And holidays seem to have been created, now I'm being sarcastic, to put a magnifying glass on the fact that we as individuals all by ourselves are alone, right? Well, I'm here to tell you it's a lie. We're not the only ones. We're not the only ones alone. We're not the only ones alone. There's lots of us alone. It's just whether we have the energy to get out and find our tribe, right? I have been working on creating a tribe here on YouTube because through COVID, it wasn't fun getting out. Too many restrictions. And personally, I'm an introvert. I don't like getting out of the house. So this is perfect for me. Unless it's like one-on-one or a small group of women to get together. Small group, meaning 3 or 4, 5 at the most. Because otherwise what happens is, because of my hearing and my eyesight, I get overstimulated. And then I don't enjoy the conversation. That's just how it is. Sorry. Because I'm hearing everyone's conversation and want to be a part of it. Or I'm analyzing everything, or I have to wear earplugs to be able to just focus in on this conversation. It's just a lot. So, it's not something I really enjoy. Oh, you know what? I dug out a liquid eyeliner the other day, and I tried it for a holiday dinner that I went to, and I made a mess. Because it's waterproof, it's an elf. And I mean, this stuff worked. Waterproof. Because my eyes can water sometimes, especially with my allergies. So I'm going to try it again. But I'm going to try not to use so much because I really did not enjoy how it clumped up on my eyelashes. It was very hard to put my eyelash mascara on. And it was a pain in the butt. All right. So I'm going to Yeah, see, it's hard to not get it on my eyelashes. And the cleanup is horrible. As far as like if I make a little mistake, it's not easy to correct. So I have to keep wiping it off of my eyelashes. Otherwise, it's going to be a horrible mess. And look how dry how fast it dries. Yeah. So if you want some waterproof eyeliner, I'm telling you what, this is the one. I'm not crazy about it because the little paintbrush is so fine that it's time consuming. So I made some mistakes on my cat eye. I know some of you are telling me not to wear it, but I keep resorting to it because it's habit. And it made it kind of a mess, and I wore it anyway. I was just like, you know what? Screw it. If people think I'm weird, that's all right. I think this is probably going to go in the back of my drawer, because it's too hard to work with. I like how it looks, but it's hard to get it just right. And then it's also hard to keep it on my eyelashes while I'm working with it. So next time you see me, I will be experimenting with liquid eyeliner, but it will not be waterproof. Okay, so listen, if you're alone, understand, I get it. If you're alone and sad, or you're with someone who you might as well be alone. I know some people say, I feel more alone because I'm with this person than I would if I were alone. Well, I don't know if that's true. You might feel better physically, but I don't know. It's a hard toss-up because I remember being alone. And I had a friend who was trying to make me feel better and said, I'm going to put this back here. And I have a Wet n Wild that I just bought. This was an e.l.f. waterproof. I kind of like it. This is a Wet n Wild, and it is not waterproof. So I'm looking forward to trying this. And I got it in the dark brown, so that'll be fun to try. Diana, Merry Christmas. Yeah, see, and I understand that. Sometimes, especially, I'm not saying this is about you and your husband, but sometimes it's really hard when we're with somebody who, and this is what I was talking about before you hooked on. I'm going to put this in here because I'm going to try this next time. Is that sometimes it's just, oh, okay, here's where I was at. I had a friend who was trying to tell me, she said, sometimes it's better to be alone. Sometimes when you have someone in the house that you don't get along with, it's worse. And at the time I was thinking, no, it's not worse. Wow. She has never been alone. When you're talking about someone who hasn't had a close family ever, was never really invited into the world, right? Who has had one horrible, disappointing, sad, ridiculous relationship choice after another. When you're sitting there by yourself, I don't know if it's worse because, or whether one or the other is worse. I think depends on your own personal experience with life more than just the day. Because at that time, I was thinking, yeah, but if your car breaks down, you have somebody. If you don't have a job and your bills aren't getting paid, at least you have somebody else who might be able to help get some food. If someone tries to break in the house, you're not there all by yourself. Someone else is going down with you, kind of thing. You're not alone. Even if you don't get along, you can be crappy roommates, right? That's what I was thinking. And then, as life goes on, you think, God, I don't know. I don't think anything beats out the other. I think sometimes we just got to do the best we can with what we have to work with. And if we're absolutely alone, feeling lonely, hey, thank God for dogs. That's what I have to say, Diana. I think sometimes we just have to forget the alone part for just a minute and remember the bigger picture. The bigger picture is we're not here to necessarily make a bunch of friends or have a big family. I just don't think that's the punchline. The only thing I think that starts changing the world, being a part of the world, once again, back to the universe isn't out to punish us. I think the universe is about learning to love better. And just because we have a partner that doesn't really impress us in a good way, it doesn't matter. What matters is what are we doing with the time and energy that we do have to bring love to the world or to experience love personally more often in a deeper way. I know that sounds weird, but if you're suffering in a holiday, there's got to be, like for me, the only challenge I really have is how do I find a way to love my life personally? Right? That's it. This is just another day of reflection. And most of us don't have to work on a holiday. I shouldn't say most of us, a lot of us. And so, here's what I was looking for. And so it's a good day to reflect on that. And that's it. We don't have to go a lot deeper than that. We can just simply use the day to reflect. And not think about it as, boy, that's shiny. I wonder if it's dry. Huh. It's dry. Okie dokie. I'm going to put some mascara on. So, how are you, Diana? What's up with you? Are you hanging in there? Are you letting the holidays get you down? Or are you doing anything to cheer yourself up? Are you still there? I was caught on a babble. I was just babble, jibber jabber. Sometimes it's hard to stop me. You have to interrupt me. Oh, I love my girls on YouTube. I'm so glad you're here. Or that you stopped by if you're not still there. I've met some brave women on this YouTube channel who have really supported and encouraged me. And I just love that you're here at all. Did you go away? I don't blame you. When I'm just jibber jabbering, it's hard to keep up sometimes. You can speed through it later if you come back. And life happens. Life happens. Oh, good. A little down, but thank God I have my husband and my dogs. Glad you're here. Yeah. Thank God you have your husband and your dogs. I'll tell you what, having my dogs means a world to me. It really does. Means a world. Something about dogs. I had a friend tell me that dog was God spelled backwards. Put some pink in there for fun. It's that old blush that I got. I think that's fun. Feeling a little down because the kids aren't around. I think you told me that something about your kids one time. That can be kind of hard. Sometimes some people don't care that they make us cry. They feel good about it almost. I don't know. But I don't like it. Yeah. Yeah. I hear you, sweetheart. I'm sorry. You know, sometimes it's hard to talk about. They don't care. Yeah. And you know what? I don't understand that kind of thing because I just wasn't made that way. I know that like with my mom, as abusive and mean as she was, my chemical makeup, my brain, my personality, my DNA just would not give up on her. I would go decades without hearing from her, years. Sometimes I'd hear from her for a little while, like a couple little notes in the mail or a phone call, and then I'd get my hopes up again, and then she would disappear again, not answer any letters, phone calls, nothing. It'd be like, what is wrong with this woman? But I never like just turned my back. God, if she reached out at all, I'd be here again. I'd probably have, some visceral reactions, but I wouldn't turn my back on my parents. Just not something I'm capable of. I do know that there are a lot of people out there. And there's some people who are, like I have a couple clients that I have helped discover where their angst was, where their disappointments were. Let me see. We had an argument in July. Yeah, July? Come on, people. Ugh. It's time to give it up, kid. That's all I have to say. I know. I'm not attacking your child, but I don't know. I just think that's cruel punishment to a parent. Like, I don't know what's going on, but you don't turn your back on your mama. Yeah, I have sometimes I'll get clients who they're discovering who they are, how they got where they're at. And they'll, look at some of how they were hurt by their parent, whichever parent and for whatever reason, right? I get that. The deal is that sometimes this isn't quite laying the way I want it to. I think I'm going to just move this because this is kind of in my way. There we go. I felt terrible because one of my clients that I'm thinking of right now, you know how it goes if you're a counselor. You want the best for that client. But this client was going through all all of the work, and started looking better, feeling better, equalizing the weight, getting better along with her own children and her spouse and her in-laws. And then the next thing you know, she was like, I don't need my parents anymore. They treated me a certain way, and I've just let go. Oh, brother. They won't make up. I miss both of them. I have a boy and a girl. Oh, sweetheart, I'm sorry. Yeah, I don't understand it. I've still been, a matter of fact, I was working with this client that I was just telling you about, and I have done as much as I can. I've even asked for help from other therapists. How can I help get this client re-engaged with her own bio parent, or her parents? And they're like, at some point you have to let the client go and explore on their own, and they may eventually come back around to them, but it could take some time. And if I push them out of therapy because they're not doing it my way, then it might be a problem. So I don't know, Diana, with your kids, I don't know. Sometimes we have to look at the buildup to that argument in July, how it got that big, and then look at their real part in that argument. Look at our real part in that argument that blew things up this bad, and decide, is there anything we can possibly do? And if not, I think there's going to be a mourning or grieving process, because, man, that's hard. Especially when if they are an addict or alcoholic or just abusive people, and you've done everything you can, or if we were abusive verbally or mentally and we've asked for too much and they're responding, sometimes it'll take a very long time, because I'm telling you, it is not very common for kids to turn their back on their parents. That just doesn't hardly ever happen unless it's with addiction or abuse. And narcissism isn't as common as people are trying to make it out to be. I know there's a lot of YouTube channels about narcissism, and I'm sorry. The people who are hurt by narcissism, they need all those channels, because getting hurt by a narcissist, that injury can go so deep. But if it's a normal argument about in-laws and outlaws and children and this and that, it might change the dynamics a little bit, but very rarely does anyone just close the door on a family member. It has to be something pretty serious. Incest, not protecting the kids. Otherwise, they just weren't that close in the first place. And there are some personalities like that. And I'm telling you what, I know it sounds like I'm babbling, but the people who have been through this kind of heartache, they know what I'm talking about. It can be so confusing and meaningless. It's just so cruel to put someone through this. So I hope your kids wake up and know that you care. My heart goes out to you. That's so hard. Makes me want to call them and give them the what for. Yeah, I don't know what they're going through. Are they into drugs and alcohol at all? Are they struggling with money and they just want more from you? Or you don't have to share if you don't want to. But I'm telling you, there are some times when we put our foot down and say no more. Whatever it is you keep asking from me, no more. I know some family members who have mortgaged their home to try to keep their kids loving them. And I'm telling you what, I'm sorry. My answer is no. No, 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 no. I never, ever, ever believe that you should put your own safety and security at risk for anyone. Not your spouse, not your kids, nothing. Thank you. Oh, good, good. Yeah, that's a hard one. I'm sorry, honey. That's a hard one. Matter of fact, I'm going to use some of my fancy MAC lipstick that I usually save. Just to kind of make me feel a little bit better about your kids. Damn it. God, I hate that you have to go through that. Hey, you know what? I bought myself a Christmas present. Not that this is going to cheer you up, but Diana, you're here with me, so how do I cope? Oh. You know, I'm glad you asked that. Sometimes you gotta cry. Sometimes you have to, I can tell you, unless you've been through it like you have. So if just anybody's listening to this, it's going to sound cliche. But there are some things that when you're feeling really down and brokenhearted, it's almost impossible to do certain simple things. Like when we have some depression. And usually when we have a broken heart, we get a certain level of depression going on. I guarantee you that it's going to be hard for you to understand that at some point, and I don't know the details of why they're mad at you. And if they're not into bad things, then doing what's called a personal inventory is one phase of how to cope. If there's any way that we have any responsibility for what happened, we're not going to rest subconsciously until we acknowledge our part in the argument and then take part in being the first one to step forward, lay it out there, what I did wrong, and let them know that I know what I did wrong and that I'm willing to correct it. I'm willing to make up for it. And I'll do what it takes to let them know that the truth is I love them more than what it was I was doing to them. Once that is done, so you can look at that compartment. Now, if there's a chance that you had nothing to do with the breaking up, then the next thing is to do, just take a real live, hard look at what made it possible without your interference. What made it possible for those kids, your kids, adult kids, to treat you in the way that they did? Who gave them the right? Where did they get the right to treat you that way? Were they born that way? Did you spoil them so badly over time that did you let someone else hurt them and not know or take responsibility? Or, I mean, what gave these kids the right to treat you that way? Were they dropped on their head accidentally? Because one of the things that's really eye-opening when we're coping with a heartache, oh, there you go, girlfriend. I love you so much. Danny, this is hard. It's hard to look at that. And if we've spoiled someone, sometimes, Frankie, stop. Enough. Thank you. Good boy. Sometimes what we have to do is write it out to ourselves. Don't give it to them, but to ourselves, and then read it with a counselor or a good friend, your husband, whatever, and write down, here's some of the ways that I spoiled you and made you believe that I was supposed to give you everything, or I was supposed to allow you, invite you even to treat me in a certain way. Like, I had a client that was letting her their kids come and go all night long because they were afraid that the kids would feel unloved and not protected if they said no. So here's these adult kids coming in and out of the house, which was startling, and you don't get good sleep. So when they would go to work the next day or with their health, they were getting wore out. And this had been going on for some time. And then they would bring friends as if it was a flop house to the house. What else was going on? Asking for money, the cars, whatever. And this went on forever. I mean, for years. And so by the time they invited me in on a picture into marriage counseling, it was kind of like, where's all the struggles? Where's all that? Because I was thinking, these two should be getting along great. These two should be getting along great. What is the outside? And they both had a hard time admitting where some of their underlying stressors were coming from. Turns out the husband had a renter kill himself because one of his kids died in a car accident. And then also, I think there was another, like a cousin, uncle, some other relationship died, killed themselves in a different way because of a child dying. And so it was like he was afraid to have a broken heart. He was afraid of being rejected by his kids and then have them accidentally die somehow. He was afraid to put down his foot. And I understand that. So one of the things that I worked on with them is recognizing if they had a higher power. And thank God for God. Thank God they had a God. And so we had to discuss if they truly believed in the Bible. Look at some of the relationships between parents and kids and God, how that triad worked, how it was supposed to work, and were they living up to their own religious belief system. That was helpful because at the end of the day, the kids cannot be your God. And what was happening is the people who killed themselves, maybe other things were going on too, but for especially the husband in this relationship, he was making his children God. Instead of recognizing he and his wife had a God, and the kids should have a God, but their parents were next in line. God, parents, kids, grandkids. There's a hierarchy here, and they weren't living up to that. And so I have had, I've even had a client who, several clients over the years, whose kid had died, and they were drinking themselves into a hole. until they really did the work to understand that you can feel joy and love of having a kid. And when they're gone, be heartache, be sloppy for a while, but then recognize what a beautiful gift it was to have that kid for what time you had. I know this sounds cynical, but the deal is, number one, we're not supposed to spoil our kids. That's been proven over and over again. And if we've done that, sometimes we have to say, oh, and Diana, I'm not trying to chase you away. I want you to know I care so much for you. I love you. I love that you're in my life. But I will tell you at the sacrifice of you getting mad at me for a little while, because I'll be here when you get back, is sometimes we have to let them know. I spoiled you. I've spoiled you. And I want you to know, no, I'm not giving you those things, but I want you to know when you want real love, a mother's love, I'm here. And one of these days, you're going to go through something tough. One of these days, you're going to go through something tough. You have no idea how to wrap your mind around it right now. But one of these days, you're going to want your mama's love. And I will be here, just so you know. You're welcome back anytime. Come over for a cup of coffee, sit down with me, get a hug from your mama, get a hug from your dad, whatever. Thank you for helping me. You're good. Aw, thank you. That means so much to me. Sometimes it's tough love. Sometimes it's the only way. It's adding up the math. Where are our priorities and where are theirs? Are they shallow kids who have been so spoiled that they've just gotten shallow? That's just rude. Hi, Happy New Year. That's wonderful. Yeah, that's a tough one. Sometimes the relationship will change, though. If they're not capable of having love and compassion for you, Diana, one of the things that you might need to do is accept that they might have been born from you, but they don't have the same Kool-Aid as you. So, like, if you mix your husband and you together, you're going to get a different color. You're going to get something a little different. But in a lot of kids, sometimes the strong DNAs will clash or they'll come together nicely. You never know. But if you mix these strong genetics with these soft genetics, sometimes they're just not going to mix well. They might mix well standing alone as a couple. But when you put the DNAs together, sometimes they come out weird. Sometimes they come out beautiful and better and magnificent. And sometimes they just don't. So it's not always your fault. It's not always about spoiling. Sometimes it is. I'm not going to lie to you. Spoiling is not the way to do it. And a lot of us older people, the baby boomers who were, working and feeling good and powerful with that, and trying to provide, or I don't know, having our own hang-ups from our childhood, will behave in certain ways that aren't necessarily conducive to oopsie, I didn't mean to do that. Okay, so I bought myself a Christmas gift, a little boombox. Isn't that cute? I just dropped it on the floor, so hopefully I don't have to send it somewhere to get repaired. But I'm gonna plug it in and see if it works. It does not take batteries, and I thought it did, so I'm kind of bummed. So Diana, I hope that's useful. If not, let me know. But I did get this one because it takes headphones, and it also, look at this, it has a little flap here where you can put a thumb drive. I love that. And a little thing for headphones. I have lots of old headphones that are rotting. Radio, CD, USB, and you have to This knob is a little chintzy. They could have done a little better on that knob. It's got an antenna, AM, FM. I don't know what these are for. Oh, it goes to the plug. Okay. And there's no place for a battery. There might be a place for a battery. There is. Oh my God, look at that. It takes 6 Ds. That's a lot of battery. Wow. If this works, it's going to be perfect. You know, every once in a while, I buy myself a gift. And I have been wanting this. I bought one before, but loaned it out and didn't get it back. But that's all right. Okay, I'm gonna go down here and plug this in. Wait for me. Yeah, I'm gonna be thinking about that. Okay, ready? Here we go. Look, the little light came on, so I didn't break it. Ready? Oh, I gotta find my cassettes and my CDs. Okay, I'm gonna put it on radio, and it's on FM, so I'm gonna turn it on. I hear static. Oh no. How do you know what channel you're on? I like 98.9. Because there's that lady that's on there at night. She's got that soft voice. I've been listening to her since I was a kid. But they play old rock and roll. Not old. They play like 70s, 80s, 90s music. That might be it. Oh, that's the channel. That's it. I'm pretty sure. Okay. So I'm gonna... I don't know how to... I guess you have to shut it off here. Huh. Yeah. So that shut it off. I just wish they would make better, you know, toggles. They have 4 different little switches here, just also close. So you could really wear that out fast. That's too bad. But I'm gonna have to put that cord down behind. Oh, so could my kids be narcissists? You're gonna buy yourself a gift? I think you should. You know, narcissism is on a scale, right? There are some people that are very empathetic, and they call them empaths, which I think that whole term has been overused. So people could have a good excuse to be moody, emotional, tired, and blame other people for it, and somehow be seen as a saint. I just think people need to be careful about how much credit they're trying to take for being a normal human being, you know? Come on. I just don't think that's all that necessary to... I don't know if I'm explaining that well, but there are other people who... So here's... I think everyone is on a 1, and then it can increase to antisocial and even edge into psychopath, right? That's like 10. So somewhere on that scale, I think most of us are a 1, where we do things that sometimes look generous and meaningful and helpful, but we're really doing it for ourselves. And you'll see that a lot in award ceremonies, where people will, even if it's subconscious, But they get their hopes up to win the award for being the best volunteer of the year, or having their name somewhere. And that's a one. You know, it's not mean, it's normal. But they do at the same time really enjoy their volunteer work. So that's very low on the scale of narcissism. Almost every human being needs to be on that scale, or how could we survive if we didn't have a way to detach from others, right? But as we move up that scale of narcissism, you have to look at how many decisions, start keeping score. How many decisions do they really make that obviously put other people's feelings on the back burner? It's not, where is that here? Okay, because it is not normal to not care at all about somebody else's feelings. I'm going to try to plug this in. It's just not normal to not care about other people's feelings. Like, for instance, if you break up with someone, a friendship or boyfriend, girlfriend situation when you're a teenager, do they do it as if they just didn't care? Do they look like they're pretending they care? Do they find some joy even in it? You have to kind of look at that. There's a lot of information about narcissism on YouTube. There's a lot of good information. But here's what I'm going to tell you about looking that up. Don't bother looking it up, in my opinion, unless you're willing to be open-minded and really consider the information. Otherwise, it's a waste of your time. If you're willing to, I've got a client here pretty soon, so I gotta figure out what I'm gonna do with my hair. Well, you spend all the time you want looking it up. Maybe it'll be helpful at some point down the road. But if you take it into consideration, one of the things that could happen is that you could actually accept that they will always enjoy hurting you. And weirdly, if they're both narcissists, it's going to be hard to accept that both your kids are narcissists, and you may never have the kids that you always wanted. You may never have the kids you always wanted. Because if they're narcissists, that doesn't ever usually change. What they end up doing, if you can manage it, is help them learn how to be better narcissists. Like, not be so hurtful if they want certain things from you. And you might accept that if you want them around, you have to give them enough carrots to be around. You have to be able to, what is this hair sticking out? I do not know, but I gotta put it somewhere. Maybe if I do that. Where's my glasses? Sometimes if you can accept that if you do enough for them, they'll be around. Like, I know I have someone in my life that I really, really appreciate, but I know they're not going to love me in the way that I want. I have to be able to simply accept that and give them enough of what they seem to need or want to make things comfortable enough for them to give me enough of what I want. So that there's this bargain there, right? So I dog watch for free. Don't ask for, hardly ever ask for dog food or treats or toys. I pick up all the dog poop. So, because then they'll stop by and let me have my grand dog, right? And I'm hoping that'll work with the grandkids someday. I don't expect a lot back. And yet, every once in a while, I'll get a slice of pie or something. as a leftover from their dinner, they'll remember to bring me something. And to me, it's like, okay, it's not a hug. It's not a, oh gosh, I love you. I appreciate you. Not, not so much that. I don't get that. And words are really important to me, but they're not into my love language. Theirs is a little gift here and there, and pretty much doing me a favor by letting me have the dogs, right? It's so you have to kind of look at, what are you willing to trade? Acceptance is a big deal. If your kids are narcissists, you have to kind of accept it. And it's hard to accept, because there's a part of us that, if I work hard enough, if I do this enough, if I do that enough, maybe, if they're narcissists, that's not going to happen. Also, it's not going to happen if they're not your true blood kids. If they don't like you enough and they haven't fallen in love, it's just not going to change anything. They're not going to be different. They're just not. Some people as well will claim, and I've done this many times, will want to claim the kids as their own. Like, oh, I want this kid to be mine. I want them to love me back. And you know what? Most time that does not happen. Sorry. This doesn't. Anyway, dang it, I have to go to work. But Diana, I love you, and I'll look forward to having my next live, and hope you're going to be here. And hello to Gigmine. Nice to see you. Nice that you're here. Happy New Year. Okay. Diana, I'm thinking of you, and I want you to research. Go ahead. There's lots of information online and on YouTube about narcissism. If your kids are narcissists, there are ways of still loving them. Because a lot of people, it's not whether they're a narcissist or not. I'm sure we all are to a certain degree. It's on a scale, like autism. It's on a scale. You just have to decide if they're on a scale somewhere along the line of where you have any control at all. If they've written you off and they're a narcissist, trust me, the harder you try to make up with them, until they actually need you, they're just going to enjoy you trying, and they'll be nasty and rude. Narcissists are pretty easy to spot. If they're not narcissists, they're going to just simply they're going to have a reason for turning their back on you, especially both of them at the same time. And that's what you have to watch. And that's why I was talking about the inventory earlier. All right. I love you. Mwah! And I'm so glad you're here. You have helped lift my spirit so many times. All right. Have a great day. Bye for now.